Shinzo Abe was born into a prominent political family. Abe was elected to the House of Representatives in the 1993 election. He was appointed Chief Cabinet Secretary by Prime Minister Junichiro Koizumi in September 2005, before replacing him as Prime Minister and LDP President in September 2006. He was subsequently confirmed as Prime Minister by a special session of the National Diet, becoming Japan's youngest post-war Prime Minister and the first to have been born after World War II. Abe resigned as Prime Minister just 1 year in office due to medical complications from ulcerative colitis shortly after his party lost that year's House of Councillors election. He was replaced by Yasuo Furukawa, who became the first in a series of 5 prime ministers who each failed to retain office for more than 16 months. After recovering from his illness, Abe staged an unexpected political comeback, defeating Shigeru Ishiba, the former defense minister, in a ballot to become LDP president for the second time in September 2012. Following the LDP's landslide victory in the general election that December, he became the first former prime minister to return to office since Shigeru Yoshida in 1948. He led the LDP to 2 further landslides in 2004 and 2017 elections, becoming Japan's longest-serving prime minister. In August 2020, Abe announced his second resignation as Prime Minister, citing a significant resurgence of his ulcerative colitis. He tendered his resignation on 16 September upon the Diet electing Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga as his successor. Abe was a conservative whom political commentators widely describe as a right-wing Japanese nationalist. A member of the Nippon Kaigi, he held negotiationist view on Japanese history, including denying the role of government coercion in the recruitment of comfort women during the World War II, a position which created tension with the various countries, in particular neighboring South Korea. He was considered a hardliner with respect to Japan's military policies. In 2007, he was the initiator of Quadrilateral Security Dialogue (Quad) during his first tenure as Prime Minister, aimed at resisting China's rise as an economic military superpower. He advocated reforming the Japan's defense forces by revising Article 9 of the pacifist Japanese constitution that outlawed the country from declaring war or acquiring ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons. He enacted military reforms in 2015 that allowed Japan to exercise collective security and JSDF deployment overseas, the passage of which was controversial and met with large protest. Abe's premiership, also known for his attempts to counter Japan's economic stagnation, nicknamed Abenomics. In 2019, Abe's government initiated a trade war with South Korea. Abe was assassinated in Nara with a homemade firearm by a former Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force JMSDF officer on 8 July 2022. He was delivering a campaign speech in support for fellow LDP party member Kei Sato for the House of Councillors election. Shinzo Abe was born in 21st September 1954 in Tokyo to a prominent political family with significant economic influence throughout pre-war, maritime, wartime, and post-war Japan. His family was originally from Yamaguchi Prefecture, and Abe registered residence is Negato, Yamaguchi. His maternal grandfather, Nobusuke Kishi, was de facto economic king of occupied China and Manchukuo, a Japanese puppet state in northern China. In the lead-up to World War II and during the war, had served as Vice Minister of Munition in the cabinet of Prime Minister Tojo. At the end of the war, Kishi was imprisoned in Sugamo prison as a suspected Class A war criminal by the U.S. military occupation of Japan, but was released and later depulged as part of occupation's reverse course. Because of that experience, I may have become emotionally attached to conservatism. On the contrary, Kishi went on to help found Liberal Democratic Party (LDP) in 1955 and served as Prime Minister of Japan from 1957 to 1960. His grandfather Kan Abe was Yamaguchi landowner who served in the House of Representatives during World War II. In contrast to his maternal grandfather, Kan Abe was stalwart pacifist who opposed the Tojo government and war in East Africa. His father Shintaro Abe served in the House of Representatives in 1958 to 1991 with stints as Chief Cabinet Secretary, Minister for International Trade and Industry, and Minister for Foreign Affairs. During World War II, Shintaro volunteered to be kamikaze pilot, but the war ended before he completed training. Abe attended Saikai Elementary School and Saikai Junior and Senior High School. He studied public administration and graduated with a bachelor's degree in political science from Saikai University in 1977. He later moved on to the United States and studied public policy at the University of Southern California School of Policy, Planning, and Development. In April 1979, Abe began working for Kobe Steel. He left the company in 1982 and pursued a government position, an executive assistant for foreign affairs.